All right, welcome everyone. Good evening. Happy to see everyone tonight. So, Mortarboard collegiate leaders, advisors, national leaders, and alumni, welcome again to the 2026 National or Special National Conference. I am immediate past president Cassandra Lucas, and I am thrilled to serve as the presiding officer for this special national conference in place of national president Nathan Cordell, who is unable to join us tonight due to illness. Today, we have a great agenda that will include a bit of business and a lot of fun as we get to know other collegiate leaders and alumni from around the country. Our goal is to help empower each chapter to end this year strong, get tips and best practices for making this a successful spring, and network with and learn from other mortarboards along the way. And it's wonderful to all be back together again. So, welcome one more time. Our first order of business is to share a bit of background and purpose for the Special National Conference. This will help us to get settled and allow latecomers to join the meeting. If you've not already done so, please feel free to rename yourself on Zoom with your name, chapter, and position. We also invite you to add that information to the chat so you get to know other collegiate members and alumni present tonight. The first time Mortarboard conducted a virtual special national conference was in April of 2012. This was a meeting for our collegiate members to come together between summer conferences and to kickstart the spring semester. We were the first National Honor Society in the US to conduct such an ambitious program virtually. And that first meeting was completely by phone. So you can only imagine having 200 mortarboards all on a telephone conference line without video. So I'm grateful today for Zoom and encourage each of you to turn on your cameras and to engage fully in today's program. We have found that our special national conference has been incredibly valuable because it allows chapters to check in with one another, exchange ideas, and get excited for the final push of the mortarboard year. We thank you for being here and invite you to be active participants for the next 90 minutes. Now, on to our official business. I now convene the Special National Conference of Mortarboard National College Honor Society. As an organization, we have always been on the cutting edge of change and committed to ensuring that you, our collegiate members, have the ultimate voice in governing and leading our society into the future. The Special National Conference is one of the most important opportunities for you to exercise that right as our governing body. So we hope that the program we've put together is both engaging and meaningful for each of you today. Now, I'd like to turn the floor over to Dr. Kirsten Fox, our Executive Director, for some introductions and instructions.
Thank you, Cass. Hello and welcome to the Special National Conference. It's wonderful to see some familiar names and faces on the screen. Today we have chapter members from 89 campuses, ranging from Florida to Hawaii, California to Vermont, Texas to North Dakota. And many of you showed up amidst a snowstorm in your states, and we are very grateful that you are here. We are also joined today by many mortarboard constituents. As we introduce various groups of national leaders, please let us know you are also here by putting your name, role, and institution you were initiated into the chat. So for example, if I were able to chat right now and not speak, I would write Kirsten Fox, Executive Director, initiated at The Ohio State University. We are excited to welcome members of the Board of Trustees from the Mortarboard National Foundation, as well as many members from our governing body, the National Council. Later this evening, you will be voting for candidates slated for 3 positions on the National Council. Please also welcome our region coordinators, whom many of you know. Our RCs work with chapters in each of our 6 regions from across the country as the liaison to our national office. You'll be meeting with your region coordinators as part of your region in just a moment. National leaders, thank you for joining us and for all you do as dedicated volunteers to support our great society. We couldn't do what we do without you. We are also joined by several additional alumni members today, including future national leaders, current national committee volunteers, and alumni who are here simply to support our collegiate members and stay connected to what's going on and happening across mortarboard and their beloved society. We are also joined by many chapter advisors who are truly the backbone of our chapters. Thank you for the guidance, consistency, and care that you provide at the local level. I'm very grateful for your leadership. We're delighted to have you with us for the special national conference. Alumni and advisors, I also invite you to introduce yourselves in the chat. And I'm also very, very thrilled and excited to introduce our incredible national office team who have done all the work behind the scenes to make today's conference possible. We are based in Central Ohio, where our national office is located. Joining us in the Central Ohio area are Morgan Feeney, our administrative assistant, who has been with the office since just the end of October and already doing a great job. Ben Flocks, our membership and operations manager, who has sent many of you emails, so I know you know Ben. Liz Cook, our director of strategic advancement, who as soon as you become an alum, you will be hearing from her more specifically in that role. And like our collegiate chapters, however, our team actually spans across the country. Jackie Huff, who is a former region coordinator and currently our communications and engagement manager, is joining us from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And last but certainly not least, the name that is very well known to our students and advisors is Trish Maxwell, our Director of Collegiate Success, who is joining us from upstate New York, where I'm not even sure how much snow is there right now, but probably more than any of us. I am so grateful to everybody in the national office. Throughout the conference, you'll see our team sharing screens, posting prompts in the chat, answering questions, and helping to guide today's conversation. Can you please take a moment to show them some appreciation? Feel free to use the chat emojis with hearts and smiles and celebrations to thank them for all they do. I already saw some of those going before I even asked because that's how wonderful they are. Thank you, National Office staff. Could you also introduce yourselves in the chat? Along with our national office staff, I'm excited to introduce Mortarboard's new interns, our inaugural street team, the Bish Fellows. These students will help grow Mortarboard's visibility through social media, tips for chapters, and by developing a new chapter grant program. So more on that in just a few months. Please welcome our 5 Bish Fellows who you will hear from throughout the semester. Layla Doyle from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Chubing Feng from the University of Maryland, go Terps, one of my alma maters, Joey Fiore from Longwood University, Anusha Sharma from the University of Arizona, and Riley Thrasher from the University of Mississippi. The Bish Fellows are a great example of what student leadership and Mortarboard can look like. And student leadership and our students bring me to the most important group with us today. That is all of you. So finally, I want to warmly welcome the heart of our society, our collegiate members. You are the foundation of Mortarboard and the reason we gather for moments like this. Thank you for taking time out of your Sunday afternoon or evening, whether it's taking a break from studying, campus activities, maybe watching a football game, to join us. I promise our time together will be well worth it. And a quick reminder, if you did join us a little late, to please rename yourself with your name and university so we can easily recognize each other. Which brings me to just a few additional housekeeping notes. As you probably see and heard, we are recording this meeting. We will share the recording link with you so you can share it further with other members of your chapter. We will use the chat feature as a way to participate throughout the course of tonight's business. I can already see out of the corner of my eye, there's 41 new chats, so clearly it's being active right now. Continue to use the chat feature, but you can also request to speak if you want to ask a question. We just ask that you do this by raising your hand using the icon beside your name. After a presiding officer, Cass Lucas, calls on you, please then state your first and last name and your institution. We absolutely encourage participation, so please don't be shy. If you need any technical support, please use the chat or direct any member in the national office team with a question and we'll be sure to help you. Because this is a formal governance meeting, we will be taking roll for the special national conference. In addition to a verbal role in our upcoming breakout by region, I ask you at this time to please officially type your name and chapter in the chat so we can have a written record of your attendance. As you enter your name and chapter for the official role, let me share the agenda with you this evening. In a few minutes, we will break into our regions so you can meet others and complete the official roll. We will then review the updates to membership eligibility that was passed at this past national conference in July. We will talk through what those changes mean for the chapters and answer any questions that you might have since they are still new eligibility. From there, you will hear updates from the governance committee, who will share proposed amendments for our national bylaws. The nominations committee will then introduce the slate of national council candidates, where you will have an opportunity to hear from each candidate and ask them questions. Please remember your voice and your vote as our student delegates matter. You will also hear directly from several collegiate members as they share ideas around member engagement and how to best encourage and sustain active involvement within your chapters. And then we'll reconvene for some national updates and a look ahead for what to expect this spring. We'll close with a charge for the remainder of the academic year from our past national president, Dr. Cassandra Lucas. And again, because your voice and your vote matter, note that voting on both the proposed amendments and the National Council candidates will open as soon as the meeting ends. We will share detailed voting instructions later this evening. And with that, I'm pleased to turn things over to Mortar Board's president-elect, Dr. Patience Whitworth, to introduce our next activity.
Thank you, Dr. Fox. As you heard tonight, we have nearly 90 chapters in attendance across our 6 regions. The work you do on your campuses creates a sense of belonging among members, keeps Mortarboard sustainable, and inspires us on a national level. Supporting our outstanding chapters is the team of 19 region coordinators. These national leaders work to support chapters throughout the year. They provide timelines and guidance, troubleshoot issues that may arise, and celebrate your accomplishments. This year, we are excited to work with the Student Advisory Board to ensure that the student voice remains strong on the national level. The Student Advisory Board provides guidance and support to the student representatives at large in the governance committee. At our national conference this summer, each region elected one student to serve a 1-year term as the region's spokesperson. The Student Advisory Board is co-chaired by our National Council student representatives, Eli Aid from Purdue and Molly McBrady from William Jewell College. This year's members are Elizabeth Baker, University of Maryland in Region 1, Ariana Johnson, Troy University in Region 2, Kirsten Farson Mantor, Otterbein University, Region 3, replaced for this meeting by Eli Aid, Camilla Graham, Monmouth College, Region 4, Nick Morris, Texas Tech University, Region 5, and Rowan Eiselman, the Chapman University, Region 6. We'll begin our regions for a quick get to know you and roll call. This is a great opportunity to meet other members, including those advisory board members and our student representatives at large. National leaders and alum, please feel free to join the region of either your alma mater or the region where you currently live. As we launch the breakout rooms, please select your region. If you're not sure, ask in chat. If you have any technical difficulties, a member of the national office will help get you into the room with your region. We'll spend 15 minutes in the region rooms. All right, we'll go into the rooms and have a great chat. Okay, I hope everyone had a great time engaging within your region. As you know, we are a student-governed society. In a bit, you'll hear from the nominations and governance committees to discuss the national governance, but we want to spend a few minutes reviewing the 3 big changes over the last 2 years so you have the most up-to-date information ahead of the spring selection. In July 2024, chapters voiced concern about sustainability and the membership challenges posed by being a senior-only society, and the student delegation voted to expand membership to juniors. The delegation recognized the positive benefits of juniors could have on an increasing chapter size, providing a 2-year capstone experience, and strengthening chapter sustainability through multi-year engagement. This historic decision allows chapters to select juniors if they so choose. It is first an option last year, and about 43% of our chapters chose to include juniors. If your chapter is considering expanding membership to juniors or has already done so, that's great. If this is your first time, be sure to review your recruitment application and selection materials to make sure that it's clear that juniors are encouraged and welcome. If you're running an eligibility list, be sure that the criteria have been updated to include students who have completed at least 50% of their bachelor's degree by the end of the term of initiation. This would be rising juniors and rising seniors. In addition, students who are graduating the same semester or quarter that they are initiated are now welcome to join Mortarboard. Recognizing the benefits of Mortarboard's lifetime membership and alumni opportunities, the delegation also voted to ensure this group of graduating seniors can still join. Please note that these students who graduate in the same semester or quarter they are initiated may make up no more than 25% of your new class. We want to be welcoming and inclusive of these members, and we want to ensure that there are enough members in the chapter for the next academic year to be sustainable.
In July 2025, chapters were informed of a change to the bylaws of the Association of College Honor Societies. Understanding the importance of remaining compliant with our certifying agency, student delegates voted to remove the reference to grade point average in Mortarboard's bylaws, updating the academic criteria by removing or a B average. We recognize that not all chapters may have access to the top 35% of their class, so we've operationalized a grade point average of 3.3 as recommended by ACHS. We also know that scholarship means a lot more than just GPA. So if you have students who are under the 3.3 but still make excellent candidates, they're still encouraged to apply. Chapters may submit a group exemption for students with a GPA of 3.0 to 3.29 by simply checking a box on tab 1 of the candidate request, the document that you already submit when you send us your candidate list to the national office. If you have a deserving student with extenuating circumstances that fall below a 3.0, you may submit a scholarship petition form that outlines their personal journey and demonstration of scholarship. If you have questions, contact the national office.
And finally, also in 2025 of July, the national chapter was formally created. This is a great opportunity for you to share Mortarboard with exceptional students that you encounter on other campuses that may not have an active chapter of Mortarboard. So think about friends from high school, cousins on other campuses, and other people you may know. However, although the original purpose of the national chapter was to provide a pathway for students on campuses with inactive chapters, the ability to join Mortarboard, we have identified an additional possibility that may be of particular interest. If your chapter has a participation requirement, yet receives a strong application from someone who can't participate due to distance, the chapter may recommend that student for inclusion in the virtual national chapter. This option will not be marketed to your students by the national office. Instead, it remains a chapter-driven decision used intentionally when you identify a great candidate who cannot meet your participation expectations. In all situations, the national chapter resembles a campus chapter with an executive board, monthly meetings, and robust virtual programming. It allows Mortarboard to still recognize excellence without lowering or changing your chapter standards or by excluding deserving students. If you encounter outstanding students your chapter might otherwise miss, or if you want to extend Mortarboard's reach to peers at institutions without a current active chapter, I encourage you to consider this pathway. To explore inclusion in the national chapter, simply contact our national office.
Thanks, Patience, Trish, and Kirsten, for reminding us of those great changes. Next, we will move on to one of the most important components of our National Society, the collegiate voice and the collegiate vote. Two of our standing committees, governance and nominations, will present items up for vote. Voting for changes to the bylaws and voting for the election of National Council candidates will take place through the use of an online ballot at the close of tonight's special national conference. Official delegates will vote on behalf of their chapters. Each chapter eligible may cast one vote, which, again, should be cast by your chapter's official delegate. If you are not sure if you are the official delegate, please vote anyway, and the tellers will authenticate the votes. Please be sure your chapter's voice is heard and cast your ballot. Certifying the ballots is an especially important job in which a committee of tellers helps complete. Tellers are collegiate members who agree to review the ballots cast and report to the National Council. This will be done on a Zoom meeting under the advisement of Mortar Board Executive Director Kirsten Fox. This year, our Student Advisory Board will act as our tellers for the 2026 Special National Conference. At this time, I yield the floor to Myra Hansen, who will present tonight's Standing Governance Committee report, including proposed changes to the bylaws. Myra will be joined by other members of the Governance Committee.
Thank you, Cass. The role of the Governance Committee is to review the bylaws twice annually and present proposed changes from members to the collegiate delegation for a vote. I would like to thank this year's committee members, Katie Sasilsky, Dr. Kirsten Hawley, Nathan Cordell, and Katie Verschelden. Thank you for your hard work and meticulous review throughout this process. Your dedication has not gone unnoticed, as each member thoughtfully considered the recommendations presented and expertly crafted the language that guides us. This year, the Governance Committee is bringing forth 6 recommendations for changes to the bylaws. The proposed new language and sections impacted can be found on the corresponding slide. Presenting the first 2 proposed amendments will be Katie Sasilsky. The next amendments will be presented by Katie Verschelden, and I will present the final 2 amendments.
The first proposed amendment to the bylaws of Mortar Board is in Article 4, National Leadership, in the Region Coordinator section. It updates the Region Coordinator term from a 2-year term to a 1-year term. Moving from a 2-year term to a 1-year appointment for the Region Coordinator position aligns with the best practices for volunteer leadership roles and helps broaden our recruitment pool. Many prospective RCs express hesitation about committing to a full 2-year term. Offering an initial 1-year term lowers the barrier while supporting continuity with region coordinators. This structure also creates a more intentional 2nd-year agreement by requiring mutual interest from both the Vice President, who works closely with the RCs, and the RC. This continuation into a 2nd year is based on demonstrated performance, engagement, and commitment. This ensures stronger alignment, greater dedication, and ultimately better outcomes for the regions and the organization as a whole. The second proposed amendment is in Article 5, Meetings, in the Voting Capabilities of Chapters section. It is proposed to change the wording to remove the direct mention of fees and reports and instead take a more comprehensive view of each chapter's overall operational and financial status. The current language focuses too narrowly on fees and report deadlines and does not account for the broader operational and financial factors that influence a chapter's standing. With the addition of fall selections and twice annual voting, special national conference and national conference, the criteria need greater flexibility. An assessment of overall chapter status, which takes membership selection and chapter finances into account, would allow Mortar Board to more accurately determine voting eligibility while recognizing legitimate extenuating circumstances. This ensures transparency and fair participation across all chapters. To present the next 2 proposed amendments, I yield the floor to committee member Katie Verschelden.
The third proposed amendment to the bylaws of Mortar Board is in Article 6 in the Collegiate Chapters Tapping section. It would remove the direct mention of tapping new members with the Mortar Board. Chapters tap in different creative ways that are meaningful to them, and this language allows the flexibility to do so. Updating this section ensures the description reflects current practices while preserving the spirit of Mortar Board's tradition of tapping. Proposed Amendment 4 is also in Article 6 in the affiliation section of collegiate chapters. It is proposed to remove the mention of regional accreditation. This proposed change aligns with current national accreditation shifts and the Association of College Honor Societies bylaws, coupled with ongoing federal changes of accrediting bodies. Removing the reference to regional accreditation ensures institutions remain properly accredited without limiting eligibility to an outdated list of accrediting groups. To present the final two proposed amendments, I yield the floor back to Committee Chair Myra Hansen.
Continuing in Article 6 in the Collegiate Chapter section, the fifth proposed amendment to the bylaws of Mortar Board is in the Withdrawal and Disaffiliation section. It would remove the requirement for reactivating chapters to complete the full new chapter petition process and refer to operational guidance. We want to remove barriers to the chapter reactivation. And since the chapter was previously approved, there's no need for a full reapproval process like a brand new chapter. This also applies to chapters that either voluntarily left Mortar Board or were deemed inactive by the National Society, ensuring a smoother and more practical path to reinstatement. The final proposed amendment is to Article 13, Amendment of Bylaws. It is proposed to remove the mention of a specific number of days. Removing the specific number of days allows greater flexibility in providing advance notice to voting delegates. This ensures delegates will receive ample time to review proposed amendments while avoiding the limitations of a rigid timeline, which may not always be practical. The change maintains transparency and gives the Governance Committee the ability to manage amendments efficiently without compromising informed participation. I yield the floor to Cass Lucas.
Thank you to the Governance Committee. On behalf of the Governance Committee, I move that these amendments be voted on by the collegiate delegation. As this motion comes from a committee, no second is required. Is there any discussion? Seeing no hands raised and hearing no discussion, we will go ahead and move forward. So delegates, please remember to vote once the ballot opens at the close of today's meeting. Upon verification and authentication of the vote, we will keep the delegates posted on changes, as there could be implications for this summer national conference. In addition, as we look to elevate the student voice, we will be looking for new collegiate members to serve on the Standing Governance Committee. If you are interested in being considered, please notify the national office by email at chapters@mortarboard.org. As a reminder, the proposed bylaws can all be found in the Guide to Governance. Also, in the Guide to Governance, you will find the candidates presented tonight for open positions on National Council. This year, I've had the pleasure of chairing the Standing Nominations Committee and working with past presidents Susan Hurden McGuire and Dan Turner. Thank you to both of them for their work in identifying such a talented slate of candidates. Our committee is charged with creating a slate of candidates for open positions on the National Council in advance of each special national conference. And we have 3 positions on the ballot today. Alumni Representative at Large with candidate Leslie Ellis, who is initiated at Lenora Ryan University. Secretary with candidate Katie Verschelden, initiated at Kansas State University. And Vice President with candidate Dr. Brendan Wall, initiated at Illinois State University. You may learn more about the roles and responsibilities in the bylaws and on pages 3 and 4 of the Guide to Governance. Each candidate will be introduced and will answer a question that we hope will tell you a little more about their qualifications for their respective positions. After they answer, we will open the floor for you to ask questions. Feel free to raise your hand or put your question in the chat when the time comes. You can also learn more about the candidates in the Guide to Governance on page 9. Leslie Ellis is unable to join us this evening due to a prior commitment, so we will play her recorded response following her introduction. Leslie is slated for re-election to the position of Alumni Representative at Large. Currently serving in this position, Leslie is eligible to run for a second term. She is a former section coordinator, conference advisory board member, and chair of the branding committee. More information about Leslie can be found on the slide and in the Guide to Governance. Leslie, what is the importance of the Alumni at Large representative role for Mortar Board?
One of the most unique aspects of Mortar Board is that it's a lifetime membership, and getting to serve as the current alumni representative at large, I have the privilege of serving as an ambassador for the society. I get to provide feedback to the National Council, build meaningful relationships with our members, and continue to create engaging opportunities for our alumni. This role is important because it keeps our alumni connected to Mortarboard while continuing to provide members with opportunities to grow in scholarship, leadership, and service well beyond their graduation.
Thanks, Leslie. One more question. How can collegiate members stay engaged with Mortarboard once they graduate?
Collegiate members can stay engaged with Mortarboard in a variety of ways, so buckle up because there's going to be a few that I'm going to walk through here. But what's great about it is there are a lot of ways for members to engage in a way that aligns with their needs, their schedules, and their interests. So you can stay connected, of course, with your own chapter, but we can also connect you with chapters around the country. So upon graduation, many of you will move to a new city to tackle grad school or begin your careers. And some people like myself, I've moved quite a few times recently, but we can always facilitate ways to connect you with chapters in your area, which is a great way for you to continue to engage from a networking perspective, but also provide leadership and volunteer opportunities as well. We also have programming throughout the year that we can offer our alumni both virtually and in person. We have amazing volunteers that serve our committees. They mentor our chapters as region coordinators and advisors. They are reviewing our scholarship and award nominees. The list truly goes on, and we continue to identify new ways for volunteer opportunities to be added into the mix. And one of those recent opportunities is our Alumni Engagement Board, which is a committee that develops and supports these initiatives to continue alumni engagement at every stage of life. We're also super excited about continuing to build upon the work of the Alumni Engagement Board in the coming months, so hoping there are new volunteer opportunities there as well. Additionally, we always encourage our alumni to stay connected with us on social media and following along on the forum, which is our official publication. And this is probably a good time to plug the social media account. So if you're not following Mortarboard on social media, now would be a great time to do so. And I trust that someone will drop those links in the chat for you to follow along. Ultimately, our alumni can stay connected with Mortarboard by sharing your experience with others. Tell others about your experience with your chapters and the amazing work you're doing on your campuses. The really cool part is that the experience doesn't end on your graduation day. The alumni rep at large role for me is the way that I give back to this organization. It's given so much to me, both personally and professionally. And I am so excited for all of you to experience that continued support when you graduate to alumni status. Thank you.
I now yield the floor to President-elect Patience Whitworth.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas. Our second candidate, Katie Vershelden, is slated for re-election to the post of secretary. Currently serving in this position, Katie is eligible to run for a second term. She formerly served as a section coordinator. You can read more about her on the slide and in the National Guide to Governance. At this time, I would like to start off by asking Katie, our first question was, Katie, you've been on National Council for 18 months. Tell us what made you decide to run for a second term as secretary.
Of course. So Mortarboard, just like Leslie said, and like I think many of the people here on this meeting know, like Mortarboard is near and dear to my heart. It's an organization that I truly believe in, scholarship, leadership, and service. It's given a lot to me, and I like to give back to Mortarboard. Mortarboard is doing a lot of exciting things right now and is being really innovative, especially in its support to chapters. And so I want to be a part of that. And I think I have ways that I can contribute to the society.
Thank you. Well, I would now like to open the floor for any questions for Katie. So please either put them in chat or raise your hand so we can recognize you. This is great, Katie. They told me I could grill you if no one put in questions of their own. Okay, Angela, please ask your question of Katie.
Hello, fellow Wildcat. So could you tell us, being in the current position, what has been the most challenging part of the position for you, and how do you plan to overcome that for the future year?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, I'd say I feel like there's different types of challenges. There's like challenges as the organization. And so I think one has been a challenge for the organization is just coming out of COVID. There were COVID challenges for students and for mortarboard, frankly. And so we're still building back up our membership and figuring out how do we best serve our students as things have changed in the post-COVID world. So I think that's been a challenge that I've seen from an organizational level. And I'd say, I think from a personal level, I think probably everyone on this call can empathize that sometimes during the year you get really busy and sometimes you fall behind on your work and projects. And so it's just trying to find the right balance of carving out time to make sure I'm supporting mortarboard the way I need to.
Thank you.
We have another question, so unfortunately, I'm not going to get to grill you personally, but the question is from Michaela. As a second year reelect, do you have any new goals that you'd like to accomplish for mortarboard or yourself?
Yeah, I think my main goal is just as I mentioned, like there's some new stuff that we're rolling out as a society, and so I think just trying to be there to support the team and do everything I can to kind of advance the ball as mortarboard celebrated its 100-year anniversary a number of years ago, and we're trying to set ourselves up to have another 100 years. So doing what I can to support that effort.
Beautiful. Thanks, Katie. All right. Now I'd like to yield the floor to Susan Herndon McGuire.
Thank you, Cass and Patience. Let us continue with our final candidate for election, Dr. Brendan Wall, running for Vice President. The Vice President term is 2 years, eligible for re-election. As you can see on the slide and in the guide to governance, Brendan's history with mortarboard leadership is substantial, most recently since serving as a region coordinator. At this time, I invite Brendan to answer a question I have prepared. Brendan, where do you hope to leave your mark on your legacy as Vice President?
Thanks, Susan. I hope to kind of continue what I have kind of started after graduating from undergrad. Like I joined mortarboard, like governance, really at a transformational time during COVID, as we tried to figure out how to be a society without in-person student involvement. And that required a lot of modernization of how we work as a society, moving things off paper and into virtual formats. And we've always been champions of that at mortarboard, but it was still a big and rather significant challenge. And I've been involved with a lot of those conversations, I think, from the beginning as a early student voice. And I think my goal is to continue to embed the student voice and the student perspective about what's going on at your individual chapters into everything that we do as a national council, and making sure that the decisions we make are serving you guys. I'm hoping that I can improve chapter sustainability and volunteer sustainability at mortarboard. Being a region coordinator is a completely volunteer task. Your region coordinators do this because they love mortarboard and they love working with students. And so making sure that we have enough region coordinators to support you and that they feel supported in their team model, so that they can continue doing the amazing work that they do. And that's mostly it.
Okay, thank you, Brendan.
Yeah.
I would like to open the floor to any questions for Brendan. Please put your questions in the chat or raise your hand and we will call on you.
I see Michaela's question, so I can answer that. I have done a lot of different things with mortarboard. I've been part of the strategic planning team as a student participant in 2020, which was pretty much like the first time I'd kind of like ever thought about mortarboard as a national organization, if I'm being frank with you all. And I think that was like a really fun time because I was being asked as a student to think about like what we have all these, challenges with, making sure that we can, be a society that moves and changes with the times, and how do we do that? And it felt awesome to be a student and be asked those questions. And so I kind of want to hopefully do that as well. Again, I think serving as a student rep was a really great time too, to be able to advocate for like other chapters with different issues that my chapter didn't experience, and learning about how mortarboard is different on every campus. So yeah, those are probably my two favorite opportunities. And now being a region coordinator, I get to work with and learn about every chapter, which has been a real joy.
We've got another question. What advice would you give the students on today's call about making the most of their mortarboard year?
I think the advice I would give them is that mortarboard doesn't really need to stop after you finish and graduate. And this would go for people who are in your executive board and also your like general members, really like pushing them to consider like how they could integrate mortarboard into their life after. I was involved with mortarboard through the entirety of my graduate school time, and there were times when I needed to take steps back from volunteerism and focus on studies, and times that I had more time to give. And mortarboard is willing to be flexible with you, and we want our students and the people in our society to stay involved long after. So I encourage you to like find ways, contact me, contact members of the national office.
Thank you, Brendan. I now yield the floor to our committee chair, Cass Lucas.
Thank you once again to all three of our candidates. Having worked with each of you in various roles across time, I cannot be more excited about the experience and the excitement and the energy that you are each can bring to our National Council. And now to the delegation. Voting for the candidates will begin before the end of tonight's conference and continue through Wednesday, January 28th. An online link will be shared in the chat and again via email following tonight's special national conference. Each chapter eligible to vote may cast one vote for each candidate. Please remember to cast your vote and to make your chapter's voice heard on all matters we discuss this evening. Also, if this part of the meeting has inspired any of you to join the Standing Nominations Committee, we will be back in action later this spring as we prepare for this year's national conference and our next election for 2 student representatives at large for 2026 to 2027. We would love for collegiate voices to be represented in this important process, so please reach out if you are interested. And now I'll turn it over to Trish, our Director of Collegiate Success, who will walk us through our next breakout session.
We appreciate the time and energy that you put into chapter annual reports, chapter action plans, and meeting with your region coordinators. And it's from these reports and conversations that we've noticed a pattern. Many of you would like to improve member engagement. I'm sure, as you know from working with other student organizations on campus as well, this is not a problem that's unique to Mortarboard. According to our 2-year data, chapters report that approximately 60% of their members who accept membership are active with the chapter. Some see more engagement, some see less. But what we've consistently heard across chapters, regardless of the percentage, is the need for a discussion around best practices for keeping your current members engaged and setting yourself up for success in engaging your new members this spring. We will break into regions again, this time hearing from a few schools in your regions who are excelling in member engagement. They'll share what works on their campus, and hopefully you can leave the meeting with a few ideas of your own. Region coordinators will facilitate a few questions, but if you have questions, be sure to ask them. If you also have great ideas that aren't being mentioned, feel free to drop them in the chat. Our student advisory board representatives will compile notes, and we can send all of the ideas out after the special national conference. So once again, let's break into our regions. Join the room that best reflects you, and we'll spend about 20 minutes, and we'll see you afterward.
All right, so I hope everyone had a great time hearing from other chapters and learning how to keep your members engaged. I'm proud of the initiatives our chapters hold on campus to honor and serve others, raise funds to support their activities, and select the next cohort of mortarboards. And I appreciate the time you all spend planning and executing these programs. At this time, I would like to yield the floor back to the national office to share more about national programming updates and what to expect this spring.
Great. While tonight's special national conference is officially a business meeting, Mortarboard Week is all about celebration. As you know, Mortarboard was founded on February 15th, 1918, 108 years ago. Mortarboard Week runs this year from Monday, February 9th through Mortarboard's birthday, Sunday, February 15th. In that spirit, and following the lead of many of our chapters, we are excited to announce our inaugural last lecture titled Lessons on Leadership, presented by Mortarboard alumna Gail Harrison Corvette. Gail previously served as past national president and as president of the Mortarboard Foundation. She spent her career in human resources and business development, lived and worked around the globe, and has served her community in countless ways. We are honored that she will join us to share her insights on leadership and the lessons that she has learned along the way. We also want to highlight our upcoming student town hall hosted by our fabulous student advisory board, whom you met earlier this evening. We're dropping a quick survey link in the chat now to gather your input on discussion topics. So please just take a quick moment to complete it. As you know, Mortarboard was founded by students for students, and we are committed to ensuring that the student voice remains central to our work and leadership. All students are welcome and encouraged to participate. We can't wait to see how your chapters celebrate Mortarboard Week, so please be sure to let us know and tag @Mortarboard in your posts. We'd love to share your photos and all of the different fun events that you do as that week wraps up. Feel free to use the chat now to tell us all the great things that you have planned. You can find the week's agenda on our website as details continue to come together, and we encourage you to attend events and invite your members to join you. We're also excited to share this year's lineup for the Career Connection Series. One of Mortarboard's greatest strengths are our members, and we're leveraging the expertise of our accomplished alumni to support the career and professional development of our collegiate members and recent alums. Our first event, happening in mid-March, will focus on building your personal board of directors, assembling mentors, coaches, and your network that will support you now and throughout your career. A second event next November will explore what makes a strong application, whether you're applying to graduate school, a new job, a competitive fellowship, or an internship. And finally, spring term means it's one of our favorite times of the year, recruitment and selection season. It's been great to already see chapters that have gone through the selection process. Please drop an emoji or a note in the chat if your chapter is one that has already begun the process. I want to specifically congratulate Agnes Scott College for being the first chapter to submit their candidate request this spring, along with Longwood University and Ohio Northern University. Fantastic work, and we can't wait to see the outstanding candidates you are recruiting and selecting.
During your selection and initiation process, most of you probably attended an on-campus orientation or information session where you learn more about Mortarboard. We know our chapters host these for their new members, but we also host information sessions virtually throughout the semester for those chapters that don't have the capacity to host an in-person orientation, or for those students who miss their chapter's orientation. Feel free to advertise any of the dates to your new members. Last year, we held 2 national virtual initiations in the spring. The virtual ceremonies are offered for chapters that might need a little extra assistance putting on an initiation, and we will be offering this again for spring. This is a great opportunity for our chapters that might not have the capacity to put on an initiation. The dates will be Sunday, April 19th and Sunday, May 17th. Let our office know if you have any questions or if your chapter would like to participate.
Each year, the Mortarboard National Foundation provides over $30,000 in fellowships to mortarboards who will attend graduate school the next academic year. We know many of you are considering graduate school, and we hope you apply for this opportunity. You do not need to know where you are attending at this point in the process. Fellowship applications are currently available on the Mortarboard website and close on March 15th.
In addition to helping our chapters with their membership certificates and pins, I also help you with all your graduation regalia needs. As a reminder, the Mortarboard store offers stoles, cords, and medallions for graduation. Regalia can be purchased individually Board chapters can place bulk orders of at least 10 items, which qualify for 10% off and free standard shipping. If your chapter would like to order bulk graduation regalia, use the online code bulk discount at checkout or contact the national office. Also, spring is a great time to get your mortarboard gear. Sporting the mortarboard name and logo are great ways to spread the word on campus to potential new members. We partner with Greek Gear to offer items including t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks, tote bags, tumblers, and more. Be sure to check out all we have to offer to help you show your mortarboard pride.
It is also award season. Mortarboard chapter award submissions are due on May 15th. In addition to the gold and silver torch awards, Mortarboard recognizes chapter excellence in programming, inclusive excellence, and advising. Each year, one chapter is awarded the Freeman and Fox Most Improved Chapter Award, and one receives the Ruth Weimer Mount Award Outstanding Chapter Award. Additionally, 2 outstanding individuals are awarded the Starlington Prize. These students receive a $500 award and free conference registration to the next annual conference. Collegiate members, nominate your advisors. Advisors, nominate your collegiate members. And I hope to see all your chapters submit for chapter recognition. Although Mortarboard membership starts in your junior and senior year, remember that it extends beyond your collegiate years with opportunities for long-term engagement. Our Alumni Engagement Board, which Leslie Ellis mentioned earlier, provides programming and ways for our alumni to network with each other. In addition, we have several standing committees and ad hoc committees, many of which you saw represented tonight with the Governance Committee and the Nominations Committee that you can join. Volunteering with Mortarboard deepens your connection with other members and the society. These opportunities will remain open to you throughout your lifetime, so please take advantage of our partnerships, programming, and networking after you graduate.
The Mortarboard National Conference will be September 25th through 27th in Columbus, Ohio. We're excited to be in person again, giving chapters the tools and connections they need to succeed. This is a great opportunity for members to learn more about Mortarboard, get ideas and best practices, share what you're doing, and network with students and alumni across the country. Each chapter must send one representative, but more are welcome, as are advisors. Registration and information will be released later this spring. Historically held in the summer, the conference was moved to early fall to better accommodate student schedules and to allow more students traveling to be eligible for campus student government funding. So start thinking now about how to best fund your chapter's attendance. As Liz mentioned, Mortarboard provides scholarship, leadership, and service opportunities beyond your collegiate years. And we have 2 national leadership opportunities for current and graduating members that we want you to be aware of. So first, we're accepting applications for the Conference Advisory Board. The Conference Advisory Board application for the 2026 conference in Columbus is currently open. It's a great opportunity to be a national leader among your peers and enhance the conference experience. Time commitment is 1 virtual meeting every other week, plus conference attendance. Deadline to apply is March 1st. We're also recruiting for the region coordinator position. I work with them, they're amazing. You have the opportunity to get to know the region coordinators already, and we're excited to continue to enhance and grow the team that works closest with you. So region coordinators guide the chapters and help set the direction for our society's future. The application is open now and will be due April 1st. If you have any questions, contact me or your region coordinator.
Okay, I know this was a lot of information in a very short period of time, but no, you are not alone. Your region coordinators, other national leadership, and our entire national office team, who you see kind of pinned and spotlit right now, are here to support you in all your endeavors this spring, as well as future questions, whether it's about the national conference, volunteering post-graduation, all of that. We're excited to see all of the questions. So we'll also send you a summary email later this week, including all of this great information. So you'll continue to get more information, but continue to check out our website, follow us on social media and all of that. And feel free to reach out to any of us with any additional questions. But while we're here to support you, one of your biggest supporters is your National Past President, Dr. Cassandra Lucas. And she has continuously given me great advice for the past 5 years, and I'm really excited that she is going to give you one final charge. So it is my pleasure to invite Cass back for a final charge.
Thank you, Kirsten. And thank you to all tonight for your participation in our special national conference. Will you please join me in a round of applause and kudos for our governance and nominating committees, region coordinators, candidates, and national office who have facilitated such an effective and informational evening. Special National Conference is really one of my favorite events throughout the year as we get to focus on the business of governance while also having the opportunity to come together with representatives from the whole of our society, collegiate members, alumni, advisors, and national leadership. Tonight, we also spent time talking about membership and membership engagement, two great ways to write your chapter's history, serve your alma mater, increase Mortimer's visibility on your campus, and continue our traditions. One of my favorite quotes is from Albert Schweitzer, and it is that the purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. Service is the very fabric of being a mortarboard. It's part of our mission, our motto, our ideals, and our purpose. We practice service to alma mater and our communities each year, and we hand down this legacy to our next chapter. By creating an environment built on service, in addition to scholarship and leadership, you encourage others to share the importance and the value of being a mortarboard, now as a collegiate member, and as you've heard, in the future as alumni members. Albert Schweitzer also said that example is not the main thing in influencing others. It is the only thing. How will you be an example for your fellow mortarboards? How will your chapter highlight scholarship, demonstrate leadership, and engage in service for the rest of this year and share this example with the incoming chapter? How will you carry your example into the world after you graduate? By sharing your example with the next chapter this spring and continuing to live Mortarboard's ideals as a future alumni, you advance Mortarboard's goals and purpose and help us create and celebrate our history. I recognize that winter and spring is a busy time for almost all of you. For those graduating, you're applying for graduate and professional schools, looking for jobs, and/or thinking about the logistical details of your next phase. For those continuing on campus, you may already be thinking about thesis projects, internships, and your own next steps for the year to come. But there's still much work to do for you and your chapter this spring, and it's your turn to be an example of service to others. I encourage you to celebrate Mortarboard Week, enjoy recruiting, selecting, and initiating the next chapter, and congratulations to those chapters who have already selected. And most importantly, have fun with your fellow chapter members over the next few months. This is your chance to strengthen your chapter's foundation and hand it off to the next chapter to advance our ideals, purpose, and goals on your campus. So before I move to our last piece of business for the evening, I charge you with the following. Show compassion to yourself and others. Serve your chapter, your campus, and your community. And be an example to the next chapter this spring and as part of your Mortarboard journey as an engaged alumni member in the future. Thank you again for sharing your collegiate voice during our special national conference, and best wishes for a great rest of your year. And now, back to business. Before I officially adjourn today's meeting, please note that voting is now officially open and will remain open until Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Time. Mortarboard was founded by students for students. 108 years later, we are still a student-governed society. The collegiate voice and vote matter. Each chapter eligible to vote may cast one vote. The highest officer attending from your chapter will be considered the official delegate. If you are not sure again who the official delegate is for your chapter, you are encouraged to still vote. And the Student Advisory Board, who will serve as tellers, will help us authenticate those votes. Please note in the link in the chat and the QR code on the slides. Once again, thank you for joining us today. And I now officially adjourn the 2026 Special National Conference.